today's training, I'm going to help you pass the PMP exam. So in this quick training, we're going to go over who the exam is for, what the requirements are to pass, go through some practice questions to help you on the actual exam. And at the end, I'll let you know if the PMP is actually worth it in 2025. So let's get straight into it. I don't want to waste any of your valuable time. Let me go back. Moving too fast. So I'm Rob. I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. I help people just like you get into awesome tech careers and pass certifications just like the PMP. So I'm a U.S. Army veteran. I fought for your freedom in Afghanistan, and I've been in tech for almost 20 years, and I've been in education for nearly 10 years. So I've had over 15,000 students taught, and I've helped over 15,000 people get certifications. I have 12 industry certifications myself. I have a MBA in information technology, and I'm an all-around good guy. So in this quick training, if you never rocked out with me before, I break down the questions. I give you scenario-based questions, give you some time to figure out what you think the answer is, and then I break down and tell you why the answer is the answer. All I ask is that you like the video, and if you like what I do, you can become one of my students. So since we talk about my students, that's the first thing that I do in all my videos is say thank you to the students that are currently in the pro program, students that have already went through the pro program and the hero program, have gotten tech careers, and also all of the YouTube channel members. So if you have a question for me, you can drop it in the comments. I only respond to channel member comments, and I only upload live videos for my channel members, right? So any live session I've done before on YouTube would be in the channel membership. So let's talk about the PMP. So the project management professional certification is through a PMI, and it gives you a overview and a sense of expertise in project management. So project management is important. You'll get paid handsomely, and tech is super important as well, right? Now, in tech, if you're looking to get into a tech career, become a tech project manager, what I found is the best project managers are those that have some sort of technical background as well. If you're doing a tech project and you're managing it and you have no technical experience, the techie guys are probably going to take advantage of you, right? Because you know what the hell you're talking about. For example, I have told one guy a long time ago, when I was younger, that we had ran out of internet. It's like, yeah, it ain't working because we ran out of internet. And he believed me. So you don't want to get taken advantage of. So make sure that you have some technical expertise with this if you decide to go into tech professions. But project management is any project. It can be tech stuff. It can be construction. It can be healthcare. Just it's a project and you are the one that's in charge, right? Now, when it comes to the PMP exam, candidates must meet one of the following experience and education requirements: have a bachelor's degree of 3 years of project management experience, or 35 hours of project management training. Or option 2, high school diploma, 5 years of project management experience, 35 hours of project management training. And last but not least, you have to agree to the PMI Code of Ethics and pass 180 question exam, right? So the exam is pretty lengthy, and it is 180 questions, and it goes over a lot of different methodologies, a lot of different things that comes to project management. And I'm pretty sure you can understand why, because managing a project, it may be a project that's $10,000, it may be a project that's $10 million. So you want to make sure that you are well versed in all those areas. So this is the way that the actual exam is set up. You have hours to complete the exam, and it may seem like, that's too long, I don't need that much time. Trust me, 180 questions, you need that nearly 4 hours. You need all that time because you don't have to take breaks. And every time you get into, a new domain, a new question, you're going to have to, kind of reset and, oh shit, okay, here comes some new stuff. So there's a couple different domains that are covered. So you got people, that's going to be leadership, which is super important, team management, conflict resolution, different processes, and business environment. Now, when it comes to the question types, you got multiple choice, multiple response, fill in the blank, and situational analysis. So multiple response just means like choose all that apply, choose 3, choose 2, right? Then situational analysis is more of what would you do in this situation, as opposed to just picking from a set of answers, if that makes sense. All right, so once again, if you've never been with us before, I read the question, I give you some time to figure out what you think the answer is, and I tell you what the answer is and why that is the answers. These questions are much, much, much harder than the questions on the actual exam. So if you can pass these questions, does not mean that you're going to pass PMP. If you can pass these questions, does not mean you're going to pass PMP, but it means that you're going in the right direction. I created these questions myself. I've taught several different project management certifications, and these are practice questions that get you in the right mind frame when it comes to passing the exam and when it comes to being out there in the real world. You ready? Let's get into it. A project manager is leading a multi-million-dollar construction project that involves several government agencies, private contractors, and community stakeholders. During a stakeholder engagement analysis, the project team identifies that some government agencies are not actively participating in project meetings, despite being key decision makers. Additionally, local community members have raised concerns about environmental impacts which were not initially considered in the project scope. The project sponsor has requested a strategy to improve communication and ensure stakeholder alignment. The project manager must balance government regulations, contractual obligations, and community expectations while maintaining project timelines. What is the best approach to address these stakeholder challenges? Three, two, one. So for this, the best thing would be is to develop a stakeholder engagement plan that includes targeted communication strategies for different stakeholder groups. This way, everybody is kind of in the loop. This is what the expectation is when I email you, when I text you, when I reach out to you. I expect you to respond in 24 hours, or I expect you to respond by the end of the day, or I expect you to check this Slack channel, or I expect you to check this Teams, so on and so forth, right? So a stakeholder engagement plan ensures that each group receives information in a format that suits their needs and also suits your needs, right? As far as time constraints, and it just makes sure that everybody is on the same page and understands what they're supposed to be doing. During the execution phase of a software development project, the project manager identifies a critical risk that could delay delivery by 4 weeks. The risk involves a third-party vendor responsible for integrating an API, and initial tests show compatibility issues with the company's existing systems. The vendor ensures the team that the issues will be resolved in 2 weeks, but no concrete mitigation plan has been provided. The project sponsor is concerned about potential penalties for missing the agreed deadline. The project manager must decide how to proceed while minimizing project risk. What is the best action to take next? Now, when you're actually taking a real exam, there's going to be a lot of information in these certifications and these questions that you may not need. One of the biggest things is make sure that you pay attention to what's the best thing, what's the least expensive, what's the most expensive, what's the fastest, what's the safest, so on and so forth. Make sure that you're paying attention to those key things. Three, two, one. All right. So For this, develop a contingency plan including an alternative vendor or in-house development in case the risk materializes. So you got to always have a backup to the backup to the backup plan. If a contractor falls through, if a vendor falls through, what is the alternative? Who else can we go to make sure that this stuff gets done? You never want to be solely dependent on one vendor, one contractor, one person for anything when you are a project manager. They can quit, they can get sick, they get kidnapped and killed. God forbid. Who knows? Anything can happen. So just make sure that you have a redundancy and you have contingency plans in place. A project manager is assigned to lead a website redesign project for a fast-growing e-commerce company. The company's leadership wants a detailed plan, fixed scope, and well-defined deliverables before development begins. However, the development team prefers an agile approach, emphasizing frequent iterations and flexibility to incorporate user feedback. The project sponsor is concerned that too much flexibility could lead to scope creep, while the development team argues that strict planning may not allow for adjustments based on customer feedback. What is the best way for the project manager to proceed? Three, two, one. Implement a hybrid approach that includes iterative development and structured phase reviews. A hybrid approach combines structured planning and agile flexibility, addressing both leadership and the developmental team's concerns. A manufacturing company is implementing a new enterprise resource planning ERP system to streamline operations. Halfway through the project, the finance department requests an additional feature that would improve financial reporting but was not included in the original scope. The change will require 2 additional months of development, increasing project costs significantly. The project sponsor is hesitant but wants to ensure that all departments get the functionality that they need. What is the most appropriate action for the project manager? Three, two, one. Conduct an impact assessment and present options to the project sponsor for approval. Impact assessment helps determine how the change will affect project constraints such as scope, time, cost, quality, and resources. So, gang, we are a few questions in. How are you doing? Did you get the questions right? Are you getting them wrong? How do you feel about it? And also drop in the comments and let me know, when are you taking PMP? And if the PMP is your first certification, and just let me know how you feeling. Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling nervous? And also, just for transparency, let me know if you've taken it and failed. To be honest, after being in education, after being in tech, after being a project manager for years and years and years, failure is a part of the process when it comes to certifications. Now, you don't want to be failing when you become a project manager, because you ain't gonna be a damn project manager for too much longer, right? Your track record is important. But just let me know if this is your first certification, if you've taken it before, and if it's your first time taking it, when you plan on taking it. We can kind of use the comment section as an accountability group. Our project manager is leading a cross-functional team that includes engineers, designers, and marketing professionals. Halfway through the project, a disagreement arises between the engineering and marketing teams over a key product feature. The engineers argue that the feature will require too much development effort, while the marketing team insists it is a critical function for customer satisfaction. Meetings have been unproductive, and the conflict is delaying project progress. The project manager must resolve the dispute without compromising project goals. What is the best approach to resolving this conflict? If you haven't done so, like this video so we can hop on the algorithm and help out people just like you. 3, 2, 1. C, facilitate a meeting where both teams can discuss concerns and work toward a data-driven compromise. Collaborative conflict resolution ensures that all parties feel heard and that data-driven decisions making leads to the best outcome. Best outcome meaning that the project gets completed and all deliverables are delivered and the customer is satisfied, right? That is the essence of a project management. Make sure that you have a successful project. You want the team to work together. They ain't necessarily got to be happy, but you want to make sure that they work together to get the project done. Because at the end of the day, it's work. This isn't fucking summer camp. You got to make sure that you get the things done you need to get done. You guys are adults. Y'all arguing and shit, and that's not going to help the project get further along. We are enrolling for the Zero to IT Hero program in September. You got to be part of the pro program before you can join the hero program. If you like this training, if you like the way that I teach, this may be a valuable asset for you. You can get some of the most popular IT certifications and skills in the industry in as little as 90 days, and we help you land a gig. So if that's something that sounds awesome to you, you can find all that information in the description below. Also, if you want more questions like this, we have a practice test boat with over 4,000 questions just like this. Other than that, I'll see you in class.